pushing the button.
So we gotta wait for this all to go live.
Yeah.
That's what's.
It takes its time. All right, 7 o'clock, you're live.
Okay, let's just wait here, because I think, maybe, I hear,
Other women's footsteps too.
there we go.
I'm sorry.
No, we just started, it's all right, it's all
I
right.
gave myself plenty of time.
No, it's good.
Isn't it?
It's good. All right, so, yeah, 7 o'clock, so we'll get started on the late October meeting. So thank you all for being here. And so again, we'll try to, I don't think we have anything too big happening today, so I have another appointment, that I didn't know about. So we're gonna try to wrap this up a little bit earlier. Okay, so let's see, we have Commissioner Keel is here. Present. Commissioner Duff is here, Commissioner Pollock is here, and Commissioner Ainsworth. And I'm here, and we have Councilmember Davies. And Michael Forster Rothbart is not in attendance today. So I sent out last month's minutes. I don't think I got anything too terribly off, but I'd be happy to hear of any changes that need to be made. I'd be happy to hear that there weren't, but. All right, not hearing anything. Do I get a motion to pass the minutes of September 13th? Okay.
I'll second
And Dave seconds. All right, so all in favor of approving the minutes of September 13th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and aye, so the ayes have it. And it is unanimous. Okay, so, so I think I told everybody, so we have Caitlin Davies come here. Just a quick little background here. I got an email from Caitlin a few weeks ago. She expressed some interest. She is pursuing multiple master's degrees, so kudos to you on that. That have quite a bit of overlap with sustainability and public policy kinds of things. And she had been looking at our Oneonta 2030 document, and she had wondered if we might need some help assessing it, moving forward, doing things like that, and not being exactly sure what the status was for Kim replacement. I wasn't sure exactly how that was going to look. We had a conversation. I invited her to come meet you all, but I think that there's a very high likelihood that she might be Kim's replacement. So you have a meeting with the mayor on Wednesday, right?
Yes, if you'll have me, I'm definitely interested. I'll be meeting with the mayor on Wednesday to discuss further. But first, I was initially just looking to align internship, which I don't have to do because I'm exempt from professional experience. But I was looking to leverage my status as a student to do service projects in the community. So I read up on your Oneonta 2030 plan, and I thought that the language was fantastic. It was a very comprehensive document, but I noticed it was drafted in 2013, so it's been a while, and I didn't wonder what the status was, and I wondered if the community might wonder where the status was, and also if there were things that I could personally do to help move that along, either in conjunction with some of my coursework or just as some of my own projects. So a commissioner seat would be a huge honor, and I'd be happy to serve, but if it doesn't play out that way, I would still like to participate in some way, because I am a longtime Oneonta resident, I'm a parent, I care, I'm going to be here. I'd like to see Oneonta 2030 and onwards. So that's a little bit about my goals. I know if you want more from me about my background, I did forward you
You said it to me, but I mean, given the fact that it looks like you're probably going to be hopefully be on the board, I don't know necessarily. I was just doing that. I asked her for her CV if I needed to ask her to be like an informal, helper here. But I think
Yeah, I'll give you just.
But if you want to give us a
I'll give you
brief rundown,
a
that'd
short
be great,
version. Sure, like I grew up in Oneonta. Back in the day, I went to Center Street School, O'Neill Middle School, moved away, moved back with my family in 2009. So I've been here, and I'm a homeowner in the city. In 2020, I quit my job as assistant director of the West Court Rights Center in East Meredith during the pandemic, and went back. The West Court Rights Center in East Meredith. So I've been working there for 5 years. And so I still do work for them as a contractor because I care and I can't stop when they need me. But I started a dual master's program at Binghamton University in fall of 2021. So it's a 3-year program. It's an MPA as well as a Master's of Sustainable Communities with a certificate in local government. So this sort of arrangement here really speaks to a lot of the goals, not necessarily my career goals, but certainly what I would like to bring back to my community from that experience. So I'm hoping that it works out.
And this is why I was very excited to talk to her about this. And so I think it's going to be safe to say that we'll find some place to do that.
Not too much unpaid work.
Yes, yes. No, I'm not like that.
No, right.
But no, it was fortuitous that she said about 2 years ago, I think, that the board decided to take a look at the Oneonta 2030 again, and we've made some progress on moving forward. Gina started to work on some sustainable purchasing and looking at greening our fleet a little bit more. We're continuing to work on urban forest questions. Housing is another big thing that we haven't quite looked at that yet, but did you help write Oneonta 2030, Gina?
No, that was before my time.
I know it was Mark. I couldn't remember.
Tracy.
Tracy, okay. I knew there was somebody, at least one other person. So there's,
He didn't help. He was on the board.
yeah. So this board has a lot of people that have worked on it at one time or another, and so this is
We're all newbies, except Mark.
the old.
So what areas are you interested in?
Well, my background is in grant writing and marketing, so all of this new stuff that I'm learning and working on has to do with public policy and GIS and economic development and all of the buzzwords that I found were even in the 2013 Oneonta 2030 plan. I was very impressed. Like all that language is still very core to the Sustainable Communities program. So I'm interested in maybe making some kind of a dashboard or a report to the council, report to the community about the progress of everything. And I did notice in that document that there were some calls out for internship work that could be done in terms of this, that, and the other. So I'm happy to check some of those boxes. My primary interests, it's the whole package certainly, but I very, very much care about bikeability is a big one for me, and affordable housing, and just having an Oneonta that will sustain into the future in all ways. So really any and all of that I'm interested, but those are my primary focuses.
I think that's what we're all here for. So no, that's great. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Just a comment, and also thank you. I mean, frankly, I was delighted as one of the people behind this for a long time, and then some of this document that it moves forward, it gets approved, you're really excited, and then it just kind of sits, and it's difficult to kind of, there's elements of it that have been pushed along, but it's not been embraced as the document we need. I keep referencing this because it is now part of our comp plan, so that was kind of a nice part, but it's nearly 10 years old, and I think that you kind of nailed it. It would be good to do an assessment of where we are with some of the different projects. At the same time, we have a climate smart community kind of designation, that we have this kind of, all these projects that have kind of sat there that we haven't verified, or I'm sure what the word is there, to be able to kind of get everything registered as climate smart community projects.
To get the points.
Get the points, right? We haven't gotten all the points.
We haven't got the documentation all together.
Exactly. So I think that there's definitely a serious need to do kind of an accounting of where we are. I think that accounting helps place what we still need to do kind of in our agenda, in our view. So I welcome this opportunity. I think it would be wonderful, and certainly we'd have to collaborate with you on these and kind of assist where needed. I would say that an opportunity to talk with Greg Mattice, who is our city engineer, or, sorry, city administrator, who was the city engineer at the time of the writing of all that, so he's certainly intimately familiar with all the different climate smart communities as well as 2030, and would have a good understanding of where we are at. But I welcome this. I think this is an excellent opportunity to again get this front and center, because there's been pockets of things taking place, but kind of large scale coordination has not happened. This might help us be able to move that. You know, our goal of 2030 is fast approaching, so I think it would be great to be able to realign and rethink this. So thanks for your interest.
Fantastic, thanks for saying so.
All right, well, so feel free to listen in on this. So the way that this normally goes is that we have our committee reports after Mark tells us the latest that's going on in the city. I think she has.
I have the agenda, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where we kind of center most of our workaday sort of things, as you'll see. And then if there's new, bigger business, then we do that. The standing committees change every couple of years depending on who's available and what they're interested in and what seems to work. So that's kind of, so today is mostly going to be just committee reports, and so that's how this is going to work. And I can talk to you more about it later. So, Mark, do you have anything for us?
Yes, well, remember last meeting, you all brought forward, we just call it green purchasing kind of plan.
Sustainable purchasing.
Sustainable purchasing, thank you very much,
No
Ian.
problem.
And so that was discussed at committee, and it was agreed to at committee, and this is what's gonna happen, is that we wanted to figure out how to institutionalize this and make it part of everything we do. So every year we have to approve a purchasing plan. And we, the council, approves it. It's the purchasing plan. What's going to be the kind of guidelines for the purchasing for that particular year and how we're going to go about doing it. We are going to feature pretty prominently in that purchasing plan or kind of guidelines the language here. So we're going to adopt some language. So that means that every year that will be pretty much, once you get kind of things in it, you can recycle through and you just, unless you have to tweak things. So I think that will be the way that we're able to kind of get this part of our thinking from here moving forward. So we did not have to take it in front of council. It just was deemed that it could be done. It was just, the city administrator and folks felt that it was, it was good and it was important. So it's just going to be part of what we do. What will need to be approved is the purchasing policy by council, and that's where the language will be adopted. We didn't have to get approval to
write
put the language into it. They will approve it. And I think we did that in like November-ish, December-ish.
Yeah, December.
Yeah, so I think that's a good way to I think it will work really well in that. And they're gonna certainly use the guidelines, thank you, Gina, that you put together
Yeah.
as the kind of framework for looking at that. And appreciated the fact that there was some really great discussion here, and kind of conveyed some discussion that had taken place here, and then some of the discussion that they were able to have with you. They certainly are gonna try to, in all places, do this, recognizing, however, that there might be some places that simply can't. For example, and this was interesting for me, the recycled paper, which seemed like a low-hanging fruit, that won't work for our copy machines here in the city. Right. So it's an example of, while it makes sense, it won't work for us. But
Immediately.
exactly, right, that's exactly it.
But then down the road, we can replace the copier, you get one that can handle.
Precisely. So I think that the staff, and again, I give them credit, they're incredibly supportive of this and want to honor in all ways, but are also trying to be mindful to taxpayer dollars, right? Trying to make sure that we're not doing things that might be 5 or 6 times more expensive than what it is. So they're really trying to create some thought about how they're going to apply this and how they're going to utilize this. So I think there'll be quite a bit of discussion. That, because it's going to be in the document, will create a lot of discussion internally about what needs to be done, what products need to be purchased, where can we find some savings. So anyhow, kudos to you all for putting that up, and again, it will be adopted in practice.
Well, thanks to Gina for putting together
Thank you.
a great deal of that. That was. it's
What
fantastic.
might not be in there and we would want to still think about would be the greening the fleet or
Yeah.
OPT and things that are not part of your.
I
Yeah, that was,
purchasing policy.
Didn't
per
last,
se.
last time though, you said that they were working towards putting together a group
Yeah.
purchasing.
Well, they're looking at it. So to continue on this just a little bit.
Sure.
And I think this is marvelous and the process makes a lot of sense. Goal setting is something we also have talked about and should want to consider, again, setting policy of where we want to get to. So it's not just an annual, what are the criteria for purchasing? But it's also, particularly we think about these lovely vehicles in this parking lot, which are big Ford trucks. Ford is making electric vehicles and they're gonna, so at some point when you replace those trucks, you're gonna have F-150s or whatever, they're gonna be electric. We start to think about when, like you said before, the life cycle purchasing, when we're gonna replace a bus, when we're gonna replace et cetera.
yeah, and if I
So that's not all council too, some of that's OPT, right? It's not,
Right.
it's the school.
No, I mean, but right, it's not council at all, it's all of our
Yeah.
city managers. And if I rifle through here, I think there's that, some of that is in play right now. So absolutely, I think you're on the money that there needs to be a plan for. They are, I wouldn't say there's a formalized plan with regards to when the buses will be converted, because we still don't have the infrastructure built out. So there is right now looking into the infrastructure piece. If we build out the infrastructure, now we can start looking at when is our next pieces of equipment can we build, what makes sense that should be electric versus what shouldn't be electric. Some of those trucks are also double duty as plow trucks, right? So you know, you can't have everything electrified because we need to, you know, still maintain.
Ah,
some
we'll
of the
see.
state. Right, right, well, maybe we get to a point where electric trucks could have the same kind of towing or pushing capacity in this particular case, as the.
It's
diesel
not a power
trucks.
problem, right?
Right, so.
Not a power
It's
problem.
not, it's that case, it becomes a battery like.
But anyway, so
Cool.
is it, you know, the people who sit on the council make policy goals, as does the elected official, mayor, right? So there's a goal setting
So,
question.
so here's what, I agree with you, but what I would say is we put it, that we would ask to put it back, and I think this is a conversation I can have with the city administrator. Can you make this part of your work with city heads, is that people are goal setting internally about where do they want to do, what do they want to improve, over this year, the next couple of years, what plans they have in place. I don't think that would be a problem, I think it's probably consistent with a lot of the practices that are taking place right now, so I can certainly have that conversation with them and see if I can move forward.
Well, that's one reason why, again, we're not at the council level yet, but I would like to see perhaps a broader conversation than just this annual
Right.
criteria.
Fair enough.
That might map to the Plan 2030.
Right, and so-
Or the state plans.
Let me take that point back and have a conversation with the city administrator and see what his thinking is about operationalizing that and what he might suggest. Again, I don't think that's not a big stretch that I
Yeah.
think would be problematic, so we can begin to have that conversation. And maybe that's something the council can do, is begin to have that, I mean, we do a lot of planning, so we have kind of a master plan that is always kind of in play, where we're always thinking about what's next and what's 5 or 10 years down the road. And maybe it's, you know, making sure that that master plan is also reflective of these particular ideas, I think is kind of what you're suggesting, that we have a plan in place for where we're trying to move things and a timeline for that.
Right, and we do have to move, I mean, the city has to move on the infrastructure relatively quickly, because pretty soon gas-powered cars are not gonna be sold in New York State anymore, I mean, that's coming up in.
Yeah. Plus, if we
10
want that
years.
state money and we want to leverage our points,
Yeah.
we've got to work regionally for these purchase plans, you know, so all this kind of,
Yeah, no,
Dovetail.
it all
It's not
dovetails
just-
together, and quite frankly, so much of this is just capacity of faculty, or faculty, excuse me.
I
Same
agree
thing.
with you.
Capacity of employees to be able to.
Yes.
To
Oh,
work this
absolutely.
all together.
Yes,
So-
yeah,
So that's why
yeah.
any help that we can get is certainly appreciated, but trying to, you know, make sure we can.
And from Mohawk Valley, you know, our other state staff that are here to help us,
Right, right.
the regional development.
Agree. Taking advantage of the opportunities that we have, right, so.
I'll agree.
Well, that is fantastic news, so thank you
Thank you
for
all.
pushing that forward
Thank
to
you.
Mark. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, so where does that put us? That puts us on the urban forest and the successful planting of trees. And thank you to Dave and to Paul for putting some back into doing that. So I think, because you both of you were helping, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a college student help as well.
Excellent, excellent.
And Tim Dresser was with us for the better part of the morning,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and he was great, and he actually planted the remainder of the trees on the park property the following Monday.
And I saw one by the tennis courts.
Yeah, that was number 21. We had 21 trees, not 20.
Oh,
So we suddenly had a last minute scramble for, okay, where are we putting it? So it was all 21 trees.
I also started to see this little tiny tree, and I'm like, I bet you I know who did that.
Actually, I think Dave put
I
that.
think
in.
that was Dave, yeah.
But, so yeah, I just gave you a quick breakdown of where the trees ended up by ward and private versus city property. I've been trying to emphasize city property more than private property, but in some cases where there's a need for canopy and the medians on the city right of way are insufficient, then.
No, I had thought a little bit about that too, and I think, again, we had these trees coming in and we needed to get them planted.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not gonna be small trees.
No,
so
they
it's
won't
not
get
like
large.
It's not like we can think about, oh, okay, this is a small median, we've got a small
Right.
tree to put here. It's like, we're gonna put a,
We were looking
An elm
for
tree.
sufficient medians without wires overhead, so that, cut our options by
so no crazy chainsaw.
60% at least.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well,
I'm happy with the results. I try to also strike a balance between public access land and residential streets. So we had 11 go on, more or less public land in the parks and whatnot, and 10 in front of people's houses. So I think it's a good mix. And I just broke it down by ward also, because moving forward, I know we've talked about this as well. I do want to make sure that we're not always planting trees in the same parts of the city year after year. It needs to be.
This is where some GIS
Yes.
work could
Yes.
be very helpful, because we do recognize that shade and trees are a
Health issue.
environmental justice sort of a thing, and there are certain places in the city that could use them, or better thought of how to take care of an urban canopy. And so that would be certainly a project. Excellent.
Yeah.
And so then, I presume probably maybe next month we can get back to the tree.
Yeah,
Is that the plan?
Yeah, I will transition back to a tree.
No rush, understand.
I was not right.
I just want to thank you both for your time and effort on this.
Yeah, no.
I greatly appreciate it. This is huge. This is one of those things where, at the time it doesn't seem like a big deal, but
It won't.
20 years from now, this is a huge deal, right?
Let's try not to order 21 trees again.
I don't know exactly how that came down. I don't think that's how we would
I mean,
have.
it was a wonderful problem to have, but it was busy, yeah. But, no, and thanks, of course, to Dave Hutchinson, because this, I think, was his brainchild. He initiated this originally, and he was there throughout the process, and his help was invaluable. So I am very much appreciative of what he was able to do for us.
All right. Fantastic, and thank you both again. That is going to be tremendous. All right, so community engagement. Not a whole lot to say. I've been putting stuff out there. I got 19 shares for the deer survey.
I have a report if you'd like.
Yeah, no, we'll do that with, I guess, yeah, after, that's community engagement as well. So yeah, we'll put that there in just a second. So that was getting some traction, as well as a few other things. Not as much interest, unfortunately, in the city Oneonta district energy study, but here we are. Just gotta work harder. So, all right, so let's hear what you have about the deer.
In fact, I just came from a meeting a couple hours ago. We have finished the survey. We had 273 respondents, which I thought was pretty good. We're putting together the responses now, and we'll be putting together a presentation with that, plus what we've been learning and recommendations that will go first to the Quality of Life Committee and then hopefully on up to the council. Hopefully sometime in December we'll be finished with that process. But we also had really good response to the meeting with the DEC people. Really good response. A lot of people turned out. There were very good questions. I think a lot of people got information they hadn't known before. So that was all to the good. That's basically all. I mean, we're in the process of putting it all together.
Mm-hmm.
I just think one thing that was interesting that came out today, several people on the committee, and I have a copy of this on my phone, there's a video going around of somebody on the S-curve at the high school being knocked over by a deer, a pedestrian. So there's deer people contact going on around here.
This is not the first time. A
No.
couple of years ago, if you recall, a very protective mama deer went after a woman's dogs and
Oh.
actually hurt them quite badly.
Yeah.
Hurt the dog, Evan?
Yeah.
All right.
But
So,
I'll keep you all informed. We are working, I mean, this group is working really hard and really intensely on putting this all together, so you'll be hearing more about it.
all right. Just as a little side thing, as I was flipping through here, I posted something about bees. It looks like maybe Hartwick College will start to have some bees. Hopefully, at least at Pine Lake for now. Hopefully, we'll get them up on the campus. But I'm part of a project for that, it turns out.
Sorry, Kevin?
So we're gonna get some bees.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's great.
So Pine Lake at first, and then
Yeah.
hopefully on the campus.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yay. All right, excellent. So thank you. Gina, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about with either energy or transportation? I know you don't have anything probably new because
No.
that was it. All right, we're going to be able to wrap it up. Excellent.
Let's save that for next time.
Next time. All right. Unless you have something that you really need to share. No. Okay. All right. So that leaves us with public spaces.
So I've made some progress on the idea of trying to name those creeks. So I took the proposal document, which is several pages, and I shortened it down to a one-page letter. Remember, my idea again was to try to get something in the mailboxes of teachers so that they could sort of initiate a contact with me, say, hey, Paul, I'm interested in this. Let's talk about how to do this. So I shortened the document down to a one-page letter, brought it down to City Hall, got it copied, got 100 copies of it, took it over to the superintendent's office on Center Street, because apparently it's the appropriate way to get something into teachers' mailboxes is to get it approved by the superintendent first. You can't just walk into schools and say, we should put these into teachers' mailboxes. You want to have it approved first. So I got the letter printed on letterhead, brought it over to the superintendent, he approved it, it actually got distributed, it sounds like today, because he emailed me, so the superintendent emailed me today saying, oh, this sounds great, this looks exciting, wonderful, all good stuff. And then a couple of hours later, I got an email from the principal saying that he wants to get his teachers involved, so that's where we are. So it's
Great.
restarted again, and we'll see what shakes out. I'm gonna try to go with this momentum and get a teacher to do
I
something.
think also this year might be a little bit easier year to do it. Last year, all the teachers were still coming off of and trying to deal with intense COVID.
So I just went into the mailboxes of the teachers probably today, and I got one principal from one of the elementary schools with whom I was in contact with last year, saying that he wants to start it again as well.
Excellent.
So that's where we are.
All right, so hopefully then we can hear back some more next month and start
I
moving forward.
kind of want to just like name one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we want to go though. I think if we can get at least one
I
school
want to get some,
involved.
like, just go out and take some pictures, go to class, talk to the kids, and kind of get.
And I think that should be
It's the
our.
process, though.
Yeah, but I think,
but not drawn out forever.
no, I think I think we should aim for if we can even just get one school to participate.
Yeah, and then
It's only the one, it'd be great to get them all. That was our original goal, but I think just getting one school involved
That's my.
would be huge, and then maybe that will
So
give a kick to the others, so.
I'm optimistic.
Excellent.
You found a way forward.
Yes, so, excellent.
Kind of back where it was several months ago. But at least I'm back in the game.
Okay. Well, so since we're, so I appreciate everybody coming here for such a short meeting, although I know nobody's really complaining about short meetings. It does come out of your day to come here. If anybody has any new things that are coming up that you think that we might want to start to have a discussion with above and beyond our usual things, let me know, and I can get that onto the agenda earlier rather than later. But if there is